Torah Or, Pashas Chayei, page Yud Zayin, second column, top of the page. Okay, we started this short mimer. The Pater Yetzi Yitzchok Asor Basoda. So the Alter Rebbe starts explaining there's Mishnah and there's Braisa. So even though Braisa explains the Mishnah, but so seemingly it's lower than Mishnah, but on the contrary, it's even greater than Mishnah. Because the higher the thing, the lower it falls. And like a test tube, what goes in first comes out last, because it's higher, so it comes out later, and so on and so forth. Okay, so he says that Nolam Abba, Tzaddikim are sitting and enjoying the ray of the Shekhinah. But Panei Lo Yero, they don't see the Pnimis of Hashem. Okay, Yud Zayin, second line, second column. The same thing, what is the Gilu in Gan Eden? It's only Ziv or the Levat. It's only a ray of Elokus. And therefore, Yafeh Sha'achas, 1 second to turning of Tshuva Maisim Tevim in this world is much better. Why is it better? Sha'amaisa Atzma Bli Tainuk. Because what is Olam Hazeh? Action. You don't have any understanding, Bli Seichel, is better mikol chayei haba. Why? Because seif maaseh b'machshava tchila. So therefore, the fact that this world is a world of action, that means it originates in a higher place. So when you do Torah mitzvahs, tshuva ma'asim tevim, so you reveal the higher source even than Gan Eden. Gan Eden is only a ray of the Shekhinah. Action reaches the essence of Hashem. That's also the aspect of Mishnah, just like Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. Yeah? Olam Haba is higher, but Olam Hazeh is in the source higher. Same thing, Mishnah and Braisa. Shamishnu, Klal, Mishnah is the rule. K'mei Dalet tzitzis ma'akves. Like all the Mishnah says that you have to have 4 tzitzis. You can't have 3. Or Sukkah Shigavoya. Or a sukkah higher than 20 amis is not kosher. He said, V'yashlim tzeitam lazel. So you have to find a reason for this. That's where Braisa comes into the picture. Braisa explains the Mishnah. Like Tchelas Deimel Yam and Sukkah, the pasuk says, Manyedu derisechem. You have to know about a sukkah. More than 20 amis, you can't see it unless you look up and so on. Ava Braisa prat levayer a Mishnah. But Braisa is a detail of a Mishnah. B'chol diktukim upratim in every slight detail. Like Sukkah's ganvach, v'rakshvat, there's an acronym for various things that invalidate a Sukkah. Shein tam ledavar. That there's no reason for it. V'nira b'chush. Shulamayla me'asech v'atam. Okay, so therefore he says like this. Mishnah and Braisa is explaining the Mishnah that has no reason, but Braisa therefore comes from a higher level. V'zeh ein b'chlal elamashe b'frat, shein b'mishnah b'chlal, more than the details of the Braisa. Okay, like we say in Rabbi Shmuel, ein b'chlal elamashe b'frat. The klal cannot have more details than the prat. So therefore, Mishnah cannot have more details than the Braisa. The Braisa deals the details, the prat. And he says, Ma'ashalin is gaima taimo. The reason why the reasons are not revealed, hu yese gavaya, because it's lower, because it comes from a higher place. I'll explain in a second. Kitami mitzvahs lein is galu. There's Kabbalah soil, and then there's Seichel. So officially Seichel is higher than Kabbalah soil. Okay? When we do mitzvahs, we do because Hashem told us to do it. But there is a level of the reason of the mitzvahs that are not revealed. Why are they not able to be revealed? Because they're too great to be revealed. That's why they're not revealed. In other words, why are chukim higher than mishpatim? Not that chukim, the illogical mitzvahs, don't have a reason. Shlomo HaMelech understood the reason of every mitzvah except for Aduma, which was unique. Well, there is a reason. but it's too great to be revealed. It's above any level of seichel. But la'asad lav mitzvah shem yizgalu. La'asad lav will be revealed. So everything has a reason. You know, they used to tell kids when in Yiddish there was an expression, "Das aus wissen was der Eltern reden." You know, you want to know, when you get older, you'll understand the reasons. Okay? Sometimes you don't need to be a reason. That's why Rab Shimon, the Gemara says, used to explain the reason of the pasuk. The Chacham didn't, but Rab Shimon would explain the reason for the pasuk. This that it says in the pasuk, the reason, that's not the primary reason, because sheyesh tam b'zagavay yesi l'mayl miyatam. In other words, like this, to give a simple explanation of this. There's illogical mitzvahs and there's logical mitzvahs. Logical mitzvahs, we think we understand the reason for it. No mashal, not to steal. It's logical, don't steal. Kibbut ava'im. Rabbi is a logical man. I gave birth to you. But the reason why we think we understand, Hashem gave us mishpatim, and you understand the reason. But that's only understanding it on our level. The real reason of Kabbalah is the reason for it is way above any of our understanding why we do it. We understand it, but that's not the real reason. The real reason, because Hashem's reason for it is much different than our reason for it. Even a little kid versus a parent. The parent says, put on a coat, it's cold. Yeah? So the kid understands, okay, it's cold. The parent understands you shouldn't get sick. I mean, it's a much deeper reason than on the level of the kid. Go to do well in school. So the kid thinks, why do I have to do well in school? I should get an AMA report card. The reason is because you have to use your brain, you become smarter. The parents understand a much deeper reason than the kids do. So you can imagine when we're talking about the Eibishter's wisdom, we're talking about Hashem's wisdom, even the logical mitzvahs we do understand, it's not for that reason. Because even from the logical, and that's the difference between Torah mitzvahs and Goyim keeping those same mitzvahs, when logic dictates you shouldn't do kibbut ava'im. When Seichel says you don't have to do kibbut ava'im, you're abusive, they abandoned you when you were born, whatever the reason may be, yeah? So Seichel says, then you're not my parent. But that's not what Torah says. Torah says, not because they raised you or stayed up for you or whatever. It's an absolute. There's a reason for it. It's mishpatim. But it's not the reason we understand. Therefore, even when we understand something that the reason doesn't apply in that particular case, it doesn't matter. There's still a reason for it.
When you think about the reason, it becomes a reward and benefit.
Yeah, but we have to understand that even the reason we understand is not the reason we do it. That's why in Chassidus it explains, they quote many psukim, even the logical mitzvahs we do as chukim, even though they're logical. But if you do it because of our logic, it's very limited. And then when logic doesn't apply, then we won't do it. Yeah, but even that is only limited what our head can understand. Okay. Achnira, but it's, no, I'm sorry, he skipped. Nimsa, shebemitzvah she'ein masig botam, therefore it's understood, a mitzvah that we don't understand the reason comes from a higher place. Uma shemasig tam v'tainug, and this that we do understand certain mitzvahs, that's only achorayim, that's only an external level, because that's our level of understanding. Not like the world thinks. The Alter Rebbe says, the primary level is the heart, shemasig tainug, that he does it with tainug, ve'vid b'slavus, and he does it with a bren, with a fire. Ve'einu came. He says, it's not true. That's not the world thing. Not like the world thinks that the ultimate way of serving Hashem is a burning, fire. It says that ikaro amaisa b'li tainug. Like we learned, the Rabbi always explains in the Sichas, Simcha is based on Sheva because they poured water, which is mamish no seichel, versus yayin, which is seichel, right? But the real Simcha can only be by mayim. Erekim siyua b'chinas gatfin. It's only, that's only a branch for it. Vine, he says like this, Mishnah nikre'ir. Okay, so now we have Mishnah and Braisa. So he says Braisa is even higher than the Mishnah. Okay. Vine, Mishnah nikre'ir. Mishnah is called city, because it's inside. Or Braisa b'chinas soda. Why? Because Braisa means bad, outside. That's what Braisa is called Braisa. Chutz li'ir. He says, l'chayra, what's greater, city or field? City, b'pashtus, is greater. Why? He said, but look, mihu mechaya isim. Who gives life to the people in the city? The field. So outwardly, the city is an inhabited place. City, it looks much greater than the field. City has buildings, all the liars and all that stuff. But the bottom line is the Sada shel chutz le'ir shemivi misham hatvua.
Which one is higher, Yerushalayim or Zion?
Same thing.
Zion Desert Torah, Torah Hashem Yerushalayim.
Both. So Tzion is Yerushalayim. Kachi Abraisa Mechaya Mishnah. So therefore, just like the Sada gives life to the ear, Braisa gives life to the Mishnah. And it gives an explanation how to do it. Why? This is an interesting Gemara. The Gemara says in a few places, but I'm going to see others. Tanoim, the Gemara says the Tanoim of the Mishnah, Mavli Elam, destroy the world. Why? Shemeira mitech Mishnah. Mishnah is halachas without the reason. If you paskin halacha without understanding the reason for it, then you're going to make, inevitably you're going to make mistakes. Why? Because sometimes the reason doesn't apply. If you have the halacha, okay, so when you know the reason of the halacha, then if the reason doesn't apply, the halacha changes. Right? Not the halacha changes, but the reason, it's a different shaila. Right? But if you paskin only because, okay, this is what you read halacha, okay, this is what I heard halacha is, and then you paskin by that, you destroy the world. Because you have to understand the reason for it.
There's a place and time for everything.
He says, okay, so Yitzchak l'suach basada, that's why Yitzchak went out. L'suach simply means to talk, right? Talk at the daven mincha. Lashon diber v'sicha. The word l'suach, the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos is bentishim l'suach. What does l'suach over there mean? Bent over. But they're being on two interpretations. Either sicha, because now that they're older, 90 years old, they're weak, so that they can't do action so much. They can talk, learn. But suach simply means bent over. So vayetze Yitzchak l'suach basada means two things: to daven, to talk, and to bend over. Miloshin v'sachrei manoshim. These are all psukim, that means it means to bend. So what does it mean? Yitzchak went out basada, which is bar, braisa, outside. He bent down to go outside to the braisa. Lifnis erev in the evening, meaning lifnis erev acheshech, when it's turning the evening in darkness. So now the Rebbe said, what does that mean? Teira nishtaushla b'cheshech. Teira comes into cheshech. Like, what do you mean Teira cheshech? B'mekamayim, like it says in Eicha, b'machshakim ha'shivani is a Talmud Bavli. Okay, there's a pasuk we say in Eicha, b'machshakim ha'shivani, in the darkness Hashem established me, He sat me down, established me. Okay? So the Gemara says, that Talmud Bavli. Yerushalmi, ki mitziyin teitzi tzera, dvar Hashem Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is Or. Bavli is Chayshach. The Gemara says, Ma'achshakim Eshivani, in darkness, that Talmud Bavli. Why is the Talmud Bavli called Chayshach? In Yerushalmi, like if you ever see a set of Yerushalmi, it's this big. Bavli is, all that big. What does that mean? Yerushalmi basically is a bunch of statements. You don't have a debate of 2 pages, 3 pages long in Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi, because it's mitzi and teitzei tzera, it gives the halachas the way it is. Bavli asks, answers, argues, debates, scream at each other, whatever it is. So therefore, where do you get the ultimate understanding of the halacha? Now, when you argue on it, because then it comes to the ultimate depth. So he says, "B'machshakim ha'shivani." That's why Yitzchak went out l'surah b'soda, in the soda which is brayser, to bend down, because brayser in this respect is lower than he comes down. He went out to bend down, but that is l'surah b'soda, which is Talmud Bavli. Like he said before, Torah comes down, liars, swindlers, they're terrible people. Why did Hashem make Torah come down into liars and swindlers and all that? Lifneis Erev. Lifneis Erev means when the evening is turning. Here the Alter Rebbe says Lifneis Erev means to transform Erev into Or. Like it says, L'eis Erev Yihi Or. Like there's a pasuk that says, in the evening will be light. What does it mean? You transform the darkness into the light. Yeah, like the Chassidus explains, V'yi Erev V'yi Beker Yom Echad. Yeah. Why taka the Deivishter? Why is Hashem taka make evening first and then day? Why in Torah it's like that? Why did he? So the Medrash says Gediyim as liberation. There's the Gediyim which are dark, they go first. Izim and Gediyim, whatever. But in a deeper sense, what's the purpose of world? To make the low level into a Dir Hashem. So it says Vayi Erev. There's Chayshach. Vayi Baiker, and you have to transform it into Baiker. Then Yom Echad, then you reveal Havai Echad. That's how Chassidus interprets the pasuk. Vayi Baiker Yom Echad. That there's a level of Chayshach. Then the Chayshach has to be transformed into Baiker, or then when you Vayi Erev, Vayi Baiker, when you make the Chayshach into Or, Erev into Or, then becomes Yom Echad, you reveal the Gili of Elokus. So Dafka, by coming down into Chayshach Ma'aser, like he says, only through Ma'aser you reveal the ultimate level of Elokus. Vayi Erev means the purpose is to take Erev, which is Chayshach, to make Chayshach into Baiker, light, and then when you do that, Yom Echad, you reveal Havai Echad.
Source why the Jewish day is from the night before?
Yes. Yeah. Even though there's a Rashbam, if I'm not mistaken, that says before Matan Torah, the night followed the day. By Matan Torah it became like yeah. But by Kochim, the night follows the day. Oh, you didn't daven it. In the Yizal Mekayman, yeah? You eat L'yom v'layla. Right?
Yes.
Certain Kabbalah are eaten by day and the following night. Either night is the next day, because in Kachim, the night follows the day. That's how the Rabbi used to explain. The Rabbi used to explain that by like Fabrengens, it was the night after it. Not the night before it, it was the night after it. Why? The Rabbi explained, because in Kachim, the Laila follows the day. Otherwise, the night precedes the day. Why? Because in Aveda, you have to make Erev into Beiker, Cheshech into Or. By Kachim, it's all Or. Okay, if you want to move something, you have to go into the room to move it. You shouldn't remain there. You have to go out afterwards. This, the Torah comes down, dresses itself into cheshech, of tainu sheker, of lies and all that. What is it? The Rebbe is saying, why does Torah talk about liars and swindlers and all that? Because Torah's greatness and uniqueness is that what the liar is saying and what the swindler is swindling is Torah. It's Or. It becomes Torah. It becomes Elukus. That's what he says. Lifnei sacheshech li'shechel l'neira v'chein ha'esik b'teira litches ha'cheshech v'akushi. What's the concept of learning Torah? To answer the questions, to understand it. It's not understood. What's the, Hardeman in Yiddish is called making a diligent effort in Torah. Okay? If it goes easy, understand it, then you're not working. It's not, the inyan is there's chayshech. There's what you don't understand. There's questions and there's answers and all that. Hamafta scholars said, there's questions in Torah, but lim say emes. But the purpose of learning Torah is to find the truth, which is gili ratzanayim baruchu, like it says, amaskilim yazir kirakia shemayim. Like the intellectuals will understand. See, he said like this. Yeti Yitzchak Lasur Basoda is going to say it now, but what's the whole inyan of Aveda? Aveda is to take the cheshech of world, and that's why Torah lowers itself. You can imagine Chochmasei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu is lowering itself all the way into lies and terrible things. Yeah? Why is it like that? Because when you learn about the liars and swindlers in Torah, that becomes Kedusha, it becomes Torah. So then what you're actually doing is elevating the Cheshech to Or. That's why Torah is called Torah Or. What's the in Torah Or? To bring Or into Cheshech. Like the Rebbe said many times, what's Torah Or? Torah is light. The Rebbe said light doesn't change anything in the room. The room is the same whether it's dark or light. There's no difference. What does light accomplish in a room? In a room, there's safe things and there's dangerous things, right? So what does light do? Light shows you this is safe and this is dangerous. It doesn't change anything. Close the lights or turn off the lights, whatever. Yeah, the room is the same. But when the room is dark, you don't see what's safe and what's dangerous. Torah Or means Torah shows light. This Avodah is safe, this Avodah is dangerous, dark, light, and so on. But that's why Torah's greatness is that even evil is elevated. By the way, that's one way it says in Chassidus you can elevate evil. Like this Shoshkim Tzatmeis you can't elevate. Right? The Shoshkim Tzatmeis. But when you learn about Shoshkim Tzatmeis in Torah, so in Torah you elevated it.
So learning about it.
Correct. Elevates it. Not like Maisa, learning about a bracha on an apple, okay, and eating L'Shem Shemayim, is not going to elevate it as much as when you actually make a bracha and eat it. Like you said, Maisa, the Torah has to come into Maisa, because safe Maisa machshava tchila. But in a certain respect, you learn about aspects in Torah, you elevate it.
But learning the halacha is not a piece in Olam Haba. Eating the apple is not.
He's not going to give you Olam Haba?
Learning it is different from doing the action of saying the bracha and eating it.
But why?
Meaning that learning is the higher level.
And action is even greater.
The eating the apple to the bracha.
Torah primarily is the keli to Olam Haba, Gan Eden.
Yes.
Mitzvahs is the keli to Tchias HaMesim.
Which is higher than the other.
When it says in Yom Yom Mirishim B'Shabbos, Mi Ya'ala Bar Hashem, Niki Kapayim Uvar Levov, yeah? But Chassidus, when it says in the Mishnah Sanhedrin, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lam Chelek L'Olam Haba, it means Tchias HaMesim. Yeah? How could you say Kol Yisrael Yesh Lam Chelek L'Olam Haba if you're a Rosh, you're not going to Olam Haba? So it says it refers to Tchias HaMesim. Right? Like all the Mefarshim say over there, the Mishnah means Tchias HaMesim. Because Tchias HaMesim is through Maisa primarily. Physical. Physical action brings a physical neshama and a physical body. And over there, I feel Peishi Yisrael Malay Mitzvahs Karimim. In action, the Gemara says in Chagiga that even the Jewish sinners are full of mitzvahs like a pomegranate.
Not so far-fetched. There's a chip now that they put in a dead body, and the dead body moves. It doesn't have a neshama.
Okay. But there, let's finish the mind. Therefore, to make chsada, cheshach, lifnei erev, to make night, to make it gilui, is ayidei yitzchok, which is pachad v'yirem ein yirem ein chachma. A person that says, I only have Torah, I don't have Maisim Tevim, right? He doesn't even have Torah, and he remains in the darkness. He makes his lofty place darkness. He lives there, that's his hidden place. They said, which is Liban Ilchasa, and that's Baruch B'Torah. Okay. Kabbalah.